Hi guys. Excuse the way I look, I just got up. But I really want to do this video today. So yeah, this video is going to be about consent and coercion and how they relate, in particular to asexuality. So I do have quite a bit to say on this topic. I guess I'll start by saying that I often see people going on about debating whether or not asexuals are actually oppressed or not. If you'll remember, there was that whole situation with, God, what are they even called? Stop Hate. Yeah, Stop Hate, which are shit, by the way. But that's a whole other discussion. But when they were asked why none of their products had to do with asexuality, whatever, they were like, how is asexuality a thing, and like how are people being oppressed for being asexual? And yeah, so I've seen this discussed by a lot of people who aren't ace, like obviously, but also a lot of debate within the actual community. So the argument that always comes up is that asexuals aren't oppressed because nobody cares if you're not having sex, or that nobody is against you for not having sex, blah blah. So I really do wish that that was so. That would be like not ideal, but like that would be great. But it's just not the truth. Obviously, we're not outwardly as oppressed as some of the other sexual orientations, because this for the simple fact that we are near invisible. That's the only reason, in my opinion. And obviously, there are a lot of people that when they hear about asexuality, they don't have any necessarily hostile reactions. But a lot of them still manage to be kind of acephobic, saying things like, oh wow, like I wish I were asexual because it must be so much simpler, or either they feel sorry for us, etc. So yeah, you see, those aren't hostile reactions. They're not, but they're still really ignorant, and it's because of the way society sees sex. So, and sexuality. Or also the LGBT community might mistreat us or invalidate us, rather, like our relationships aren't as important if they're not sexual or even romantic. So, but here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. This is what I really wanted to get to. The reality is that asexuals are at risk for rape, dare I say even higher risk. To be clear, I'm not saying that we're at higher risk of forcible rape or like being randomly attacked than other people. What I'm talking about here is coercive rape by usually people we're in relationships with. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen to people who are not asexual, but hear me out. I'm talking about particularly asexual relationships. So most people in this world are sexual. We live in a highly sexualized culture, and for asexuals who choose to date sexual people, the reality is that we are at higher risk for that sort of thing. And there's always the possibility that sex will be expected of us. Even if we tell the person that, or the people that we're dating, that we don't like or don't want sex, etc., there's always that possibility that sex will still be on that person's mind. And the thing about this is, the thing that really annoys me a lot is that too often the acceptable compromise seems to be that, well, why can't the asexual person have sex anyway? Because, or something like that, because the sexual person has needs, or it wouldn't be fair to them, blah blah blah. as if the only valid way to have a relationship with somebody has to include sex. Not only that, but you have to remember that a lot of asexuals are actually sex repulsed and want absolutely nothing to do with it. It all comes down to each individual person's personal comfort zone, you know? Even in non-asexual relationships, communication and respect of the other people's boundaries is really important. Like, I can't believe that some people need this explained to them, but that's just the reality of the thing. Hang on, my computer's telling me I need to update some shit. Like, shut up. Sorry about that. So what was I saying? It's just a reality that a lot of people don't understand, I guess. There's definitely ways to have a really great relationship with an asexual. If you love someone who is asexual, and you're not, that doesn't mean it can't work. It's all about finding a good relationship model that will work for everyone who's involved. I'm not saying that that's necessarily easy though, but it can definitely be done. So, see, like, my boyfriend is not asexual, and it works for us. We've had plenty of discussions about it, and he's not sexually interested in me anyway, so anyway, I'm not going to get into that too much, but I mean, it can be done, and it works for us. We still have a meaningful relationship, and I mean, to an outsider's view, or the view of someone who's not asexual, it might seem completely weird, or what I do get a lot is like, explain why a relationship is different from just close friends, as if the only difference between close friends and lovers is sex, you know. But I put the blame for that on our culture, really, because the way we're brought up thinking about relationships and sex and all that. But anyway, the point is that there's a lot of ways that people can get others to have sex without consent, and that's almost always through manipulation. We're at risk for being manipulated, shamed, or forced into having sex, particularly with partners, like people we're dating, but maybe just people we know. Like, people might try to force us into sex by way of our feelings, or lying to us about sex, pressuring us, and that's abuse, by the way. What a lot of people need to understand is that a lot of the time, most of the time actually, sex is completely off the table. I can't speak for every ace person who's dating, but some people might see us as a challenge of sorts. Like, I've seen that being discussed. I mean, how many times have you heard about people telling asexuals, like, oh, you won't still be asexual when you have sex with me? Like, something like that. And that's a rape threat. It is. It just is. A lot of asexuals are understandably touchy about sex, because we've been told our whole lives that, for the most part, that sex is like the most natural thing, and that it's human, and that we should want it. And for me, realizing that I did not ever have to have sex again was great. So I've talked about this a little before. So I've had sex a few times while I was in relationships, and always with asexual people. Like, I've never dated an asexual person. But so, yeah, I've said previously that I've only ever had consensual sex with these people, and that's true. I've never been pressured by somebody that I was dating, so I guess, like, I don't have any experience with that. I mean, I have experience as an asexual who has had sex with their partners, but it was never unhealthy, if you know what I mean. However, and I really don't like talking about this, but Like, I don't like thinking about it much, but I was abused when I was 12 and 13 by, like, 12 through 13, by a fellow classmate, and she took advantage of me. And so this doesn't necessarily have to do with me being asexual per se, because I didn't know that at the time, but I still do know what this is like. So I never dated her, like, that's the thing, and we were just like friends, but it was an abusive relationship, and like I couldn't say no to her. Like, here's the thing, I was never in a position where I could refuse to give consent because it was dangerous for me to do so. Like, that's the thing people need, like, people often don't understand. You hear people going like, why do people stay in abusive relationships, blah blah blah. And the thing is that sometimes not giving consent can get us hurt. And if we refuse sex in a situation where that person can and will harm us, then that can be really dangerous as well. So that's why I'm especially tired of how invisible asexuality is, because when people's reaction to it is that can be fixed, then we have a problem. Because we don't need to be fixed, and having sex would not fix us anyway. So having sex is not an essential part of life for many people, and having sex, the way society acts as if it were a universal, like, truth, that needs to stop. And even if it did, like, even if things got a lot better, it obviously would not probably stop rape and problematic shit like that. And rape culture is in itself a much larger conversation that we need to have as a society, and of course it doesn't only have to do with asexuality, but asexuality does make us a target for rape. So, not just for aces, but anyone in a relationship, communication and consent is not only really important, but essential, really. So that's what I wanted to say about this. I know this is a really heavy topic, but we really need to have more discussion about this. We really do. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we would love it if you followed us on Tumblr and Twitter, and please send us your questions and comments if you have any. If you have a topic that you'd like us to see discuss or anything of the sort, then yeah, we are here for you. So subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you around. Bye.